One of the things that excited me most was the realism of it. So many of these people that their lives cross, in amazing ways, and yet it didn't feel forced or contrived.
Like, look, this is what goes down. This is how people think. This is how people talk. This is what happens when people aren't being polite.
This is a film about real life. It's also something of a fable and a morality play. And it's a story of hope. There's levity, there's heartbreak, there's tragedy, there's beauty, there's comedy.
So the couple continue their previous fight that they were having outside of his studio where he was shooting like a TV show or something. And they basically say the same thing that they were saying previously, but she apologizes for mouthing off to the cop.
I'm sorry.
But says, I was humiliated, you didn't care.
But I was humiliated.
I don't want to talk about
I
this
couldn't
right
believe
now.
you let him do that, baby.
And then she implies that his dignity was taken, and he gets very offended and he walks away.
You gonna walk away from me? Cameron!
Just go home.
Okay, the prancing is the main reason I wanted to show you this, but it does come back later. I wonder if that Persian guy ever fixed his door. Oh, guess not.
He say he fixed the lock. You come here, see how fixed it is.
So he calls up the locksmith company to report the guy who didn't properly fix the lock, but then the locksmith company tells him that the locksmith informed him that the door was the problem, not the lock, so it isn't their fault.
Scusari, you said that you called the locksmith?
Yes, I tell him fix it.
And then the insurance learns this and claims that it was negligence because the father did know about the door and didn't get it fixed, so they're not going to pay for any of the damage done by the robbery.
They said that their man told you to fix the door and you didn't do so.
Are you saying it's his fault?
And that sounds more like insurance to me. The key thing for me here is that the daughter is translating this, so this man has absolutely no excuse to not understand this. It's been translated in his own language. I still maintain that he knew about the door the whole time because he does say it like this.
I need new door.
But now it's in his own language. There's literally no excuse. He absolutely knows that it was his fault, that he needed to get the door fixed, and he didn't. So while he's going through the trash, he pulls out the form that the locksmith threw away previously. And he finds out what his name is and where he lives. And since we haven't brought up the gun yet, you should probably know what's gonna happen. But we're gonna cut away. We cut back to Mr. Protect and Insert here, and he finds a car that's flipped upside down. Now, if you were tasked by a big Hollywood studio producer man to write a terrible movie, if that was your job, who would you put in this car? Of course it's her. Who else the fuck are you gonna put in this car if your goal is to write a terrible, stupid movie? Of course it's her. They hold off on the reveal as long as they can, but it's so fucking obvious.
Alright, get an extinguisher and get that fire out. Jesus. Ma'am, are you hurt?
Can't breathe.
Okay. Okay, let me get you out.
No.
Look, I understand. I honestly get it. You don't want him to touch you anymore because he violated you. But you're kind of out of options here. You can't really prance away from this one. So you kind of got to let this happen. Took you long enough with that goddamn extinguisher. Fuck you. Well, they get fried and it's sad and their graves are next to each other. Fuck you. So of course he saves her, of course he gets her out, and of course it's like, oh man, oh gee golly, I should really stop fingering random strangers on the side of the road. I'll stop doing that now, thanks. So this scene ends, and we never see these two characters again except for brief moments, but there's no dialogue from them. And there's still 45 minutes left in this goddamn movie. It might seem like, wow, this is a short movie, but I've been skipping a lot of boring garbage that has nothing to do with anything, so you're welcome. Granted, it probably isn't that easy, and not everyone is Marvel, so having this many main characters is kind of hard to juggle, but I feel like you could have paced these conflicts better. If they're just gone now, we just don't see them anymore. And is this dude even, like, cured of his racism? Like, he still probably feels that way about minorities, right? He's still a bad person, probably. We don't even know what happens to the father. We don't ever see it again. This felt so pointless and a waste of time, and it was, like, so aggravating. I guess this was a great arc to the story, guys. Next, let's briefly talk about 3 Billboards Outside of Missouri, because the character of Dixon, played by Sam Rockwell, is trying to achieve a similar thing to this character, but I think it's done a lot better, because it's given a better approach. So much like Matt Dillon's character, Dixon is introduced as a racist.
Listen, you fucking beaner, I better start
Shaniqua, big fucking surprise that is.
And then he commits violent acts against other people, abusing his power and stuff like that. But the reason why Dixon's character works a lot better than Matt Dillon is because Dixon actually has a personality and character depth to him. Dixon has realistic inflections, like how he stumbles over his words sometimes.
bucket there. That's against the being bad.
Mama is against persons of color torture.
He's given interesting character traits, like the fact that he's a mama's boy, that he reads comic books, the fact that he doesn't care about his job that much. There's a lot of dichotomy in his character. You'll see him with a heavy drinking problem and saying vile, racist, and homophobic things.
You know what they do to faggots down in Cuba, Welby?
I've been sent down to take over from Chief Willoughby in light of last night's unfortunate event.
You have got to be fucking kidding me.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
But the thing with Matt Dillon's character is he has absolutely no personality. He is a cunt in every scene he's in. The only time you're supposed to sympathize with him or try to get attached to him is just because he has a sick parent, which is like the laziest screenwriting ever. When you see Dixon commit these terrible acts onto the other characters, it's very jarring because up until this point, he's felt more like a kid playing police officer than an actual police officer. So to see him commit such brutality is more shocking, and it's like, holy shit, this dude is so immature. Fuck this guy. But also, there are things that you can get attached to, like the fact that he loves his mom, the fact that he has a deep connection with Chief Willoughby, his incredibly emotional scenes when Chief Willoughby passes. He just feels way more believable. But not only is Dixon just a more believable and better character, but the redemption is also handled with a lot more care than in Crash. I don't think either film is suggesting that their racist cop character is a good person by the end of it, but I think it's pretty clear that they're both trying to redeem each character in some manner. But for me, the way Crash handles it does not resonate nearly as much as 3 Billboards. You see, in 3 Billboards, after Dixon has been shown committing all these awful acts onto other characters, he is then told by a character that he's deeply attached to that they believe that they can be good, thus giving him motivation.
I think you've got the makings of being a really good cop, Jason. And you know why? Because deep down, you're a decent man.
And then later in the hospital, when he is shown compassion and a bit of forgiveness from the character that he wronged, it gives him a bit of motivation to try to be good. And then 3 Billboards sets up an opportunity for him to try to do good. And what's important is that he chooses to be good. And he does it through his own volition without gaining anything from it for himself. It actually costs him one hell of a beating to get what he wants.
Hey. It's exactly fucking right.
But he's doing it to help somebody else, not himself. It's so much more satisfying to see this character perform this, like, noble act You know what's not satisfying? Is to see a convoluted situation forced into the plot where the character he had conveniently wronged is the person he conveniently has to help for his job. He's not so much as making a choice as he is doing his job as far as I'm concerned. He isn't incorporating what's happened in the story so far into his decision making. This isn't him making progression, or it's not him learning things over time. It's literally just he was a cunt in every scene and now he has to help a person. And then he's gone and it's over. It's so shallow, it's so forced, and it sucks. So while the film has been pretty illogical and cringy up to this point, it starts to enter the realms of lunacy with the next scene. So this is the tip of the iceberg that really plunges the film into the deep depths of just absurdity. So the husband from earlier is met with who else but these two idiots from earlier. So they've been hinting that this dude is getting fed up of being talked down to, he's sick of random cops finger cucking him. So he's finally about ready to explode and assert his dominance and stand up for himself. That's what they're going for, at least I think. But his response is to ignore their threats and start fucking wailing on him.
The fuck are you doing, man? You wanna get killed, nigga? Say that again. Say it again, bitch. You stupid motherfucker. Say it again.
No person on fucking Earth would ever act this way under these circumstances, no matter what was going on. No matter how lobotomized they were, no one would think to do this. This is the best way to get yourself fucking shot. Miraculously, he doesn't, and the police are right there, but why the fuck would he just ignore their threats when there's two guns being pointed at him and just start attacking them? But it gets worse. Instead of waiting for the police to come so he can explain the situation and have them deal with it, he decides that he should jump into his own car with one of the robbers that he was just walloping on, who by the way still has his gun, and just ignore him and just drive away from the police. Fucking why? By the way, they never hint that he learns about what happened to his wife in the car accident, so he's not traumatized by that, or if he is, they didn't imply that in any way. So I'm not going to say it's that, I'm just going to say it's the cucking thing. But there's even if it was the wife thing, there's no excuse to fucking act like this. Who is this stupid? Who is this impossibly dumb? Now that he's driving a getaway car and is just not listening to authority, more police show up and decide to follow him. So I guess he decides that now that more police are showing up, it's time to fight the dude for the gun to try to take it from him. You know, even if he's not going to shoot you during this interaction, which he very well could be, he still might accidentally pull the trigger trying to keep the gun away from you, and the barrel's aimed right at you, so maybe don't do that. You know, this character was portrayed as cooperative and calm at the beginning of the film, and to go from that to this crazy nonsense where he's just acting completely out of the realm of plausibility is such a staggering sense of whiplash.
Not quite my tempo.
I've never been so jarred by character inconsistency like this. This is so frustrating and out of left field. But wait, it gets fucking worse. His reaction to the cops giving him orders is to not follow any of them and start fucking harassing them.
Hands in plain sight, step out of the vehicle. Fucking want me? Here I am, you pig fuck. Lie face down on the ground, spread your arms. No, you lie face down on the ground. Oh shit! Don't come any closer, down on your knees. Fuck you, man. What are you gonna do?
When did this guy get a death wish? What possible reason could he have to act like this? He doesn't know about his wife, he has no reason to be this upset, and he's making it so much worse for himself. Because I don't care who you are or what your skin color is, when you're talking this way to police officers and not following their orders, they are going to shoot you and they are not wrong to do so. Because you're acting like a complete fucking maniac, and you're endangering people's lives. Oh, what are you doing? And since this movie was made to irritate, the guy who witnessed him get finger cucked earlier just is there, of course, because LA's a tiny city, obviously, so of course he's there, and he bails him out.
I know this man. Get back. Fuck off. Give me some space. Step away. He's a friend of mine, okay? He's a fucking friend of mine. This man is not armed. He's not gonna shoot you or me or anybody else, all right? Go home.
He just drives away with the dude who was trying to rob him initially. Like, you don't think you should maybe turn that guy in or maybe explain to the police what happened? You just got bailed out so hard. Maybe it's a bad idea to let this guy go, honestly. You're just letting him off the hook for no reason. It's so ludicrous.
You embarrass me. You embarrass yourself.
Still a dumb thing to say. Alright, now the store owner needs an eye for an eye. So he goes to the locksmith's house and says, like, give me your truck so I can ruin your business, because you ruined my business.
I want my fucking money. Give me the truck. That's not my truck, bro.
Even though you know for a fact that it was the door. We went over this. You have no right to act like this. The daughter explained it to you, and you said it initially. You should know it's not his fucking fault. So he starts to rob him, and then the daughter runs up to the door and has a brilliant realization.
He doesn't have it. That's not what? I have it. He doesn't have a perpetual cloak.
Oh, fuck.
Alright. Alright.
Is to go even further beyond.
And I believe I can be a super singer. So this is my first time.
You know, the movie's made me laugh several times, but I think that's the peak. That it doesn't get fucking better than that. Jesus Christ. That's the face I make when my daughter gets shot in the fucking head.
It's okay, Daddy. I'll protect you.
Oh my god, we'll come back to what just happened there, but we gotta move on now.
It's a really good cloak.
I sent her out for groceries, and that was 2 hours ago, Carol. Well, you know what? You are one to talk. You go through like 6 housekeepers a year.
So we see Sandra Bullock talking to her rich white lady friends on the phone about lady rich white things, like complaining about the help, because that's what rich white people do, is they complain about the help. And then she explains to her friends in the audience exactly what her revelation is on why she's a big dumb meanie head.
I just thought that, Carol, I just thought that I would wake up today and I would feel better. But I was still mad. And I realized that it had nothing to do with my car being stolen.
I feel like a big jerk.
Carol, I don't know why.
What the fuck is this? What the fuck?
Carol.
I've fallen, and I can't
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
Oh my god. I've never been so happy. Alright, that's a new peak. We've reached a new peak. It's Everest 2.0. Good job. Sadly, no. We have 30 more minutes of this shit, people. So Ludacris's friend from earlier escaped and is now hitching a ride with who else but the good cop who just bailed out Ludacris and the dude a second ago?
No problem.
I'm sorry, but is this not Los Angeles? Is this not one of the largest cities in the world by area? How the fuck are these people just bumping into each other like this?
So how long you been out there tonight? It's cold.
Hour, maybe.
So as if we haven't seen enough of the characters contradicting themselves and acting completely antithetical to what we've seen so far, they start chatting, and the good cop thinks that the dude is making fun of him because he's listening to country music, even though there's nothing indicated that he's actually making fun of him.
Some good music.
Mm-hmm.
No, really. I'm starting to understand it. Wrote me a country song myself just yesterday.
I bet you did.
Whatever.
So the dude sees the hood ornament and thinks, hey, I also have a hood ornament. And then he laughs a little bit, and then he's like...
Something else funny?
Yeah.
And so he says this.
Yeah, what's that?
People, man. People.
That's not a fucking answer. Fuck you. And then this dude, who I will remind you, mere moments ago was the one acting as mediator, trying to do everything in his power to defuse a situation so that no one got hurt because of a misunderstanding, misunderstands the situation, it gets super fucking sensitive all of a sudden, and kicks the dude out of his car for laughing at his thing.
No, I'm not laughing at you, man.
Why don't you laugh outside?
When the dude tries to explain himself,
You want me to show you?
this
I'll
happens.
show you.
Put your hands out of your pocket. Put your hands where I can see
Who
them.
the fuck you think you talking to?
Put your hands where I can see them.
You want to see what's in my hands? I'll show you what's in my fucking hands.
What the fuck was that? What is with this movie and sacrificing what each character has stood for so far to turn them into an irrational dipshit just to cause more problems? It's really hard to get attached to any character when they all act completely different from scene to scene. Like this was an hour ago this dude was being reasonable and trying to prevent senseless violence, and then all of a sudden just murders this dude for no fucking reason. This is like the worst possible way to write a movie where each thing is only dependent on if the characters are irrational and misunderstand each other. So much of this movie relies on characters that act in ways that no human being would ever act in any situation. These misunderstandings are so contrived. The man not understanding the door, the dude being mistaken for a criminal, the woman buying blanks, this dude being made fun of for his hood ornament. Each one of these scenarios hinges on characters acting far beyond the realm of reason. It's such an aggravating way to watch the movie because you just look at it and you're like, you fucking idiot, why did you do that? That's not what you would have done in this situation given what I've seen so far. Your character is not like this in any way. It's just impossibly frustrating to see a movie do this. But wait! There's more! After he realizes that he fucked up and just murdered somebody, he thinks his best course of action is to ditch the body on the side of the road and burn the car. What even are you? Oh yeah, Don Cheadle's in this movie. I haven't been bringing up his scenes as much just because while they're cringy, they aren't as entertaining, but I'll give you a brief rundown of what his thing's about. So Don Cheadle has been asked by his mother several times to find his brother and get his brother off the streets. Get him away from those questionable life choices. You gotta get him off the streets, Donnie. That's all she wants is for the brother to come home. So naturally, who do you think the brother is? If you were asked to write a terrible movie, who would you make his brother? Quick, 2 seconds, no thinking, of course it's him. Of course that's his brother. Of course it is. The way that they play this part at the beginning and don't reveal who's dead until the end is clearly trying to be like the, oh wow, oh my god, they connected everything in such a unique way, I didn't see this coming. But honestly, fuck this movie. You don't get to say that you have an emotional resolution to this part of the story because this whole movie is preaching about racism and the brother's death really has nothing to do with racism. It had to do with a lot of inconsequential bullshit. Let's see how the brother actually got here. He tried to steal a car originally, but they distracted his driver, so he hit a dude, and the blood wouldn't wash out, so they had to get rid of the car. So now they need a new car, because they're not going to take the bus, because the windows are big. I mean, you can't do that, I mean, obviously. So they go and steal the car from this dude, who isn't having any of that shit. And the reason why he isn't having any of that shit is because his wife got fingered by a cop, and they were having a fight about it, and his masculinity was being questioned, so naturally he just attacks people who are trying to rob him of his car. So he has to run on foot because the police are right there. So now that he's on foot, he doesn't have a car, so he decides to hitchhike a ride with this dude. And he notices that this dude has a hood ornament just like his. And then he thinks that's funny. And rather than saying that he thinks it's funny because he has a hood ornament just like it, he gets shot because this dude's the most sensitive, trigger-happy asshole all in the world all of a sudden. And he just thinks he's being made fun of, so he kills him. Your movie is shit. What the fuck is this? Just because you have a complicated plot doesn't mean you're clever. This was complicated, sure, but it was also stupid, and the only way you could go from one point to the next is to have a really stupid misunderstanding. And by the way, when we learn about this dude, I'm not even joking, there's 20 minutes left in the film. We still have so much new shit to get through that we haven't learned yet. Do you remember this Chinese dude that they ran over? I bet you were itching to find out his backstory. Well, let's learn more about him. I'm sure Sandra Bullock will be fine having a concave skull at the bottom of her steps for a few more minutes, because now we need to learn new information about this dude. So his wife comes in and he tells him to cash the check. And then Ludacris is riding the bus home, and because they have big windows, he notices the van from earlier, and he's like, hey, I can use that van. And then he takes it into the shop, and this happens.
Fuck Lincoln Navigator, you thought I said give me a white piece of shit penalty.
Fine. It's fine. Just give me whatever for it.
Lucian, you should see this.
Yeah, it turns out this Chinese dude is fucking a human trafficker. And to this, I say, movie, surprising doesn't equal smart. This feels like an Edgar Wright movie where they throw a bunch of new shit at the very end when you think it's all done, just for the comedic effect of it. But no, it's doing a completely straight face, and it thinks it's being clever, and it's not, and I hate it.
I'll take the van.
They're chained to the van.
So I'll take them too.
You want to buy these Chinamen?
Dude, Chinaman is not the preferred nomenclature. Asian American, please.
Don't be ignorant. They're Thai or Cambodian, entirely different kind of chinks.
What the hell are you gonna do with them?
Sell them. What the hell you think?
How the hell do you know anything about human trafficking? Weren't you just too worried to have blood on one of your cars because you thought you'd get in trouble for it? Now you're gonna suddenly sell all these humans? Do you even know how to do that? Also, did they just not say anything the entire time that the dude got hit with the car? They were just completely silent in that scene from earlier. Also, even if you know how to sell these people, shouldn't you get them water, you know, kind of keep your merchandise looking nice, keep them alive? They're just like standing there. Also, can we think about the logistics of this for a second? Clearly the film isn't, and it's only trying to be surprising. It doesn't realize that this doesn't make any sense. So not only did they not say anything when the dude got hit originally, but they also just kept completely silent when Ludacris was just driving to the shop, and somehow Ludacris didn't notice a bunch of people in the back of his van.
Are you kidding me?
Even if somehow Ludacris got all the way to the shop without noticing all the people in the back, you think they would have made even a little bit of noise by accident just because there's a bunch of them back there in a van while they're driving. It's just impossible for them not to have noticed this. This film is a plague of stupidity. I don't know how any audience member, let alone the Academy, could look at this and not see just how stupid and ham-fisted this is. How can you not look at this and not think about how unlikely it is for these events to transpire in this way? So Don Cheadle tells his mom that his brother is dead, and turns out the store owner's daughter was the nurse for whatever reason. Also, the human trafficker's wife was the person that Don Cheadle hit in the beginning of the movie. Also, Ludacris is actually Brendan Fraser's dentist, and also Sandra Bullock's maid used to be in band class with the director's wife. Also, the locksmith's daughter was the mastermind behind this human trafficking. Are you not arrested? In what world does this guy attempt to murder the locksmith's daughter and he doesn't get sent behind bars? Did he not call the police and say, hey, a man tried to murder me in cold blood in front of my house and almost killed my daughter? But if he did call the cops, you'd think the store owner's own store would be the second place they looked after checking his home.
Baba, what did you do?
I shoot a little girl. Huh? She's here. The gun shoot her. But she's okay, Tori. Nothing happened. My angel. My angel.
She came to protect me. To protect us.
Huh?
Well, she did a great fucking job of protecting your store, didn't she? Also, no, she didn't, you fucking idiot. The bullets are blanks and you're going to jail. Can we go back to that for a second? So if you didn't know that the daughter bought blanks off the store owner unknowingly, did the gun store owner just sell her blanks and not tell her that information? Now let's say hypothetically that those bullets weren't going to be used in an attempted murder of his Loris, and he actually tried to use them for self-defense. Now if he had tried to do that and he had gotten murdered in the process, would the gun store owner not be held incredibly liable for this? Would he not be sued the crap out of, or could he be sent to jail for not relinquishing that information earlier? Yeah, you can't fucking do that, dude. Alright, I'm getting real sick and tired of all this nonsense. We're just gonna speed it up a bit. Sandra Bullock says that her rich white lady friends didn't come to her rescue when she called for help after tumbling down the stairs. Even if they are rich white lady friends and they're assholes, they probably still would have come, or they would have called someone to help you. Also, why didn't you just call 911? Also, pop quiz number 3. If you're writing a bad movie, who do you think came to help her? Oh right, it's the maid that she was an asshole to earlier. Good job. We're ending this shit right now. He's burning his car. Beautiful. His dad's in pain on the shitter. Perfect. Brendan Fraser's locking his door. Amazing. The daughter is in bed with her parents. Immaculate. The director's driving home and he sees the snow, but it's the ashes of the car from the guy who saved him earlier. Kill-tacular. The wife receives a call from her husband and says, "I love you." Gay. Don Cheadle finds his brother's dashboard ornament in the dirt. Also gay. Ludacris releases the human traffic slaves into Chinatown to be free.
Wait, what? Wait, what the fuck?
Alright, come on.
What the fuck are you doing? What is this? He literally just drives the van into Chinatown and fucking lets them loose and like they're wild animals. Just returning them back to their habitat. Can anyone think of a more misguided and irresponsible way of dealing with this situation? Fucking call the police, you fucking idiot. These people don't have homes. They have been malnourished. They're slaves. They were taken out of their home countries probably and sent here against their will. They don't know this place. You literally just made more homeless people. You just made them homeless. This isn't the right fucking thing to do, you remedial sack of shit. Is this not also incredibly racist to just either assume that they were from here or that they will be fine here because it's Chinatown and they look vaguely Asian? This movie's mother drank during pregnancy. That's the only explanation I can think. What the actual fuck is this? They are literally just sitting down on the sidewalk. This is worse than the van. They can't survive here, dude.
Buy everybody chop suey, you understand? Dopey fucking Chinaman.
How is this the ending you came up with for this goddamn movie? We're gonna introduce this element 3/4 of the way through and give it the most retarded resolution ever. Congratulations, Ludacris. You saved those men, women, and children from slavery and made them homeless people. Does your generosity know no bounds? Oh my god, wipe that shit-eating grin off your fucking face. How are you not gonna wake up in a cold sweat every night from this point out? Jesus. Also, here's the lady from earlier who just says something racist and then the movie's over.
I hope they are moved, and I hope they are torn, and I hope they go walk away talking, and just talking to their friends as they go out and go, what was that about? Or what did that happen? And arguing.
Fuck you. This is the most clunky, contrived, poorly written, poorly directed, poorly acted fucking piece of shit movie I've ever seen in my life. This is not only the worst Best Picture winner I have ever seen, but I honestly believe it is one of the worst movies I will ever see in my entire life, period. Fuck you.